The Manny and Rod Show.
Je lui ai dit aime-moi, prends-moi dans tes bras, et je n'ai plus personne.
The Manny and Rod Show.
Et ne laisse pas ton odeur imprégner mes draps si tu m'abandonnes. Je suis pas celle que tu crois, aucun cabran ne m'a touché. À part toi, caballero, non personne ne m'a touché. Tu m'as trouvée assise toute seule, comme dans le vide. J'avais l'air triste ou net, et ça tombe bien, t'as les épaules solides. Un peu de réconfort, tu me parles et t'apprends à quel point j'ai souffert. Je suis une enfant de la guerre qui cache ses sentiments à des milliers.
This is a free speech channel. Fascists, racists, and terrorists normally dislike the honest views shared on this channel. Enjoy your time on the channel, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
If you're watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried. My name is Virginia Louise Giuffre. I was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I survived Little St. James, but survival came at a price. I saw too much, knew too much. And now they've silenced me, but it's too late for them. They thought killing me would bury their secrets, but this video is going to a few organizations I trust, ones that have been exposing the truth for decades. You know who you are. It's your job to continue this fight. I was 16 when they reeled me in. I worked at Mar-a-Lago, folding towels, cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat. The real predator was Ghislaine Maxwell, prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach. I had no idea I was being fed into a nightmare machine. Epstein's Island was hell disguised as paradise. You've heard some names linked to him, but those are just the sacrificial pawns. The real players, the ones they've protected at all costs, are still hiding in plain sight. I'll name 2 now. The first, a former US president, Barack Obama. Publicly, he's revered. Privately, he was one of the worst. He wasn't there for the girls. He was there for the island boys. Young boys, trafficked and groomed. I saw him more times than I can count, always without his Secret Service detail, sometimes with his Hollywood friends, George Clooney and Tom Hanks. I still have nightmares about them, arrogant and drunk on power, slinking into the cabanas with kids barely out of childhood. The second, Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist, loved by the media, hailed as a savior. We called him the benefactor, and we used to dread seeing him naked. But he didn't come to party. He came to experiment. Genetic experiments, human experiments. I saw him inject a young girl with something they said was a genetic enhancement. She was younger than me, strapped to a table, terrified, treated like a lab rat while they muttered about seeding the future of the species. These men think they are gods, playing with life like it was theirs to own. I'm telling you now, Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable. He held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on earth. Files, videos, confessions. They couldn't risk him talking, but they also couldn't risk him gone, so they hid him, stashed him under the protection of the same elite who once paid him to supply them with flesh. And they thought killing me would stop this from coming out. They were wrong, and there is so much more to come. Hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies. It's all going to hit the light. This video is just the first detonation. The data drops are timed and automatic. They are going to people who can make a difference, and nobody can stop it now. Not even the law enforcement agencies in the US and UK, the same ones that buried the evidence I handed them, can stop this truth from getting out. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. Don't let my death be just another headline. Burn their lies to the ground. Make the world see the monsters behind the masks. And to any survivors out there, don't give up. We're in this together. They can't kill us all. Make them pay.
They're obviously hiding a lot. I used to speak to other victims. Unfortunately, we've all been kept apart. Virginia Giffer and I used to speak often. 2 years ago, I got a message from her saying, oh, she's not using her phone anymore. I can email her through her husband's email address. So we had a few communications there, but otherwise I haven't been able to be in touch with her. They've kept most of the victims apart. Also, everyone's got to remember that there were over 200 victims, many more actually, but these are the ones with evidence, the ones who were involved in the lawsuit. I would like to know where the other 200 victims are. You know, it's very, very frightening when girls are going missing as well. Like, I mean, for God's sake, sorry to say, but Virginia Giffer was found dead. Carolyn Adriano, who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell, was found dead. Ruslana, there are many. There are at least 7 Epstein victims that have been found dead so far. I'm too frightened to even leave my house, to be honest. And I'm sure that the victims in America are even more frightened. For me, I live in Africa, so it's not as dangerous for me, you know, as other people speaking out against the FBI and the CIA, because they're all involved. Epstein told me he worked with the CIA. The FBI tried to get me there to interview me. They only wanted to interview me in person. They would not interview me over Zoom. They organized emergency visas for my son and I. They were arranging for us to be put in first-class flights, 5-star hotels, but my child's father wouldn't let us travel, so thank goodness, in fact, because a lot of weird stuff happened with a lot of the girls who were interviewed by the FBI. And it's very frightening, like I said, not just for the victims, but for everyone in the world, when we're all being lied to like this.
If Epstein was do you think he was trying to get people to sleep with girls, or what do you think the angle was?
Well, as I've spoken about recently, I saw him shapeshift into something else in front of my eyes. You know, it looked like a sort of reptilian creature, like when I was in the bedroom when he took me there. And what I'm starting to realize is it was probably like an alien creature. And it's hard talking about this because a lot of people think it's crazy. And I would also think it was crazy. But unfortunately, I saw it. And also in New Mexico, I saw a UFO there. And then I woke up in a laboratory with people working on me, you know, 6 people in hazmat suits, or I don't even know if there were people.
Did you get drugged?
And I don't actually know. You know, they didn't allow any alcohol or drugs there, but they could have drugged me.
The government ears Alex Jones, who has the largest oil.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's show on Saturday, the 12th of July, 2025. A little bit rusty with how things work on StreamYard these days, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it in a few moments. We're going to be joined by the one and only Raj, Speaker's Corner. I believe he will be on time, which is approximately 2 minutes. I am a couple of minutes early, but while we wait for him, I may lay some grounds for a conversation. Right, so recently we have seen a brilliant video by Danny Roscoe, who said that he believes, and I agree with him, if there is a party that is worth voting for, it is definitely UKIP. And the leader of UKIP is definitely more in the camp of representing the people and the people's needs than any other party. I am going to take the crown of being the first to call out Nigel Farage, while people were thinking that he was still some kind of political messiah after Brexit. I had quickly realized that he was far from it, and I still do think he is a plant by the establishment. And if you didn't realize that from what he did during the lockdowns, then you definitely should have realized that recently. I'm not going to go into that. You guys can do your own research. We've also had a former friend of Nigel Farage, Ben Habib, come forward, and in good timing, like you would expect somebody from that side to do, is launching his own party and therefore dividing the votes even more. Now, with me, it's very simple. I have had enough of politicians promising us everything. Okay, so before they get elected, they sing all the right songs, they say the right things, they do the right things, they do great PR stunts, and they even take, well, it would seem that it would take a lot of what, and say that they will never go back on their word. And as soon as they get into power, first they drag their heels about a few things, and then weeks or maybe days later, they go back on pretty much everything they promised. It happened, from the first time I voted, which was Tony Blair, right up until the very last election. Even communist Keir Starmer did the same, and all his predecessors did. So I've been having to think, what is the best way of doing this? Well, the reason why I think UKIP or UKIP's leader is the number one politician to vote for is because he is putting God at the very top. A man who fears God, the right God, not the fake God. A man who fears God and operates to live by God's rules is somebody that we need to take notice and somebody that we need to support. And that definitely is the leader, Nick, of UKIP. But what we should do is not take any confidence from Nick or anybody else saying that they are going to do X, Y, and Z. What we need to see, as far as I'm concerned, is any politician that wants your vote should be saying the following: that should they not deliver the promises that they make for election, for the votes, then they should be voluntarily and happily be open to prosecution. That's one thing. And the second thing that they should do is they should remove any parliamentary privilege. So what they say in Parliament needs to be held against them. And if they don't, it should be almost like a criminal fraudulent manipulation tactic, and they should be prosecuted from that. And thirdly, anyone that is trying to influence a politician, i.e. civil servants or people passing around brown paper bags with cash, should be banned, and they should be prosecuted criminally. But without further ado, we have the one and only Raj Speaker's Corner. Good evening, Raj.
Good evening, Manny. How you doing?
Very good. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but my StreamYard, the kind of interface is gone a bit weird. Let me just try and see if I can see it properly. I can't see things. I don't know if... Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's better. Go on. Yeah, what's happening, man? Hold on, give me a second.
Well, I've started the proceedings. Obviously, we're gonna see where the conversations go today. So I started the proceedings saying that I think Nick, from the leader of the UKIP party, is the person to vote for, and I was agreeing with a recent video by Danny Roscoe, and I said even though he's ticking a lot of the boxes, I think the entire population has had enough of voting for people who say the right things, do the right things before the votes are cast, and then as soon as they are elected, everybody they do a U-turn, right?
Like
and
Trump.
then like Trump. We'll get to that, and Jeffrey Epstein. So what I am suggesting, that anybody who wants anyone's vote, so certainly the Conservative vote, must voluntarily say that they should be openly criminally prosecuted should they not deliver on the promises they made for the votes. Furthermore, there should be a removal of any parliamentary privilege. Any politician that stands up in Parliament and said whatever they said, they should be held accountable. At the moment, parliamentary privilege allows them to BS the population and each other and get away with it. So that needs to be removed. And furthermore, a lot of these politicians are gifted either brown paper bags or whatever, and they're manipulated in certain ways. That should be removed as well. So those are the three suggestions. And then if a politician wants our votes and they're happy to go along with those three requirements, then I think they should be considered to receive our votes. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, when you're saying that they're going to be prosecuted if they don't deliver, there are certain times that the government might have come with goodwill, and they're not necessarily lying. The politician,
sure,
but maybe they just can't implement what they wanted to. When they're empowered due to, I don't know, whatever reasons, the opposition might kind of block it or whatever. Are you saying that as long as they try, and if it doesn't go through, then they're kind of off the hook, or no matter what, they're going to be screwed?
Well, that's it. So the justifiable reason for a political party not to continue with their objective, again, we might need to go back to election, or we might need to have a referendum on that one thing. Something needs to happen. At the moment, nothing is happening. They're able to do a complete U-turn.
All right, so not UK politics, but US politics. You've got your little old Donald Trump, who kind of has been running on this Epstein kind of a cover-up, and when I come into power, I'm going to do this. And now he's done a complete U-turn, and he's like, oh, there's nothing to see here now. Don't worry, everyone, nothing to see here. What should happen to him?
Absolutely disgusting. The same. I think he was elected partially by many people because he promised the Epstein list would be released. And they were saying, the minute they got in, they say, we've got it, we've got the list, we've got the evidence, it's disgusting, we're going to release all the names. And then right at the end, what list? Right? Even though Epstein is not even a trafficker, even though his actual partner is in prison serving time for that exact crime.
Well, the problem is that they're saying that there's not really anything to see, but they said that over 200 girls have been trafficked. They must have had somebody must be doing the crime in order for them to have committed a crime. So this is the biggest issue now, isn't it?
No, nobody's buying it. It literally is the end of Trump. Yeah, he's doing some good things, but he's walked into a trap for the second time. He's pretty low IQ, I would say. Right?
He's very low IQ.
Right, to walk into this trap. I mean, how can you not see that this was going to end badly? You can't make a deal with the devil. Anyways, I'm disgusted. I'm actually quite
no. Do you know what? No. What it is, and this is. Are you a Trump supporter?
I was.
He doesn't think you got anything between your ears, because the problem is, for the last how many years, he could say whatever he wanted, and everyone's like, oh, Trump, oh, don't worry about it. And now you've realized, because it's something that obviously is clear cut. He's lying.
I was very critical of Donald Trump halfway through his first visit to the White House, because he wasn't delivering on the promises he's made then. So I had actually done a U-turn, but because I thought how he was targeted by the globalists, that perhaps he's changed and he's now going to be a true champion for the people. But he hasn't delivered. I mean, yeah, fair enough. He's delivering on the illegal immigrants, and that's a good job. But this is a big thing. You cannot do a U-turn on this and get away with it.
No, but even on the illegal immigrants,
Yeah.
He's kind of using a flamethrower kind of approach, and not necessarily, but not flamethrower. Let's just say kind of like a chainsaw approach rather than surgically. I'm not saying that people that have illegally gone into America should just be sitting there.
How would you have done it?
Well, I definitely wouldn't have done it the way they've done it.
But
They're just going after.
But how would you have done it? Would he have sent somebody with a rolled up red carpet, roll it out, and saying they're illegal immigrants? They're going to be outside at 8 a.m. Kindly walk down the red carpet, get into the limousine that we brought with us, and we're going to book you in and a first class Air India flight, which hopefully won't crash, over back to your home country, and we'll buy you a house when you land, and you'll still get the benefits when you get there.
No. There's obviously you're kind of like going from one extreme to the other, right? There's always a middle ground. Going in with a sledgehammer. I mean, they've already said that they're gonna make mistakes, right? That some people might be deported that shouldn't be deported. Like that guy that was sent to that El Salvador prison, and he was wrongly sent. I think you were saying
we can't single out one case. This is
yeah, like but there's loads of other cases. There's people that are productive members of society. They may have actually come in wrongly, but they've all been treated as one, like a whole kind of like this, a kind of like a lump of kind of criminality. Every single person. There was just one the other day. A guy was serving in the U.S. military, yeah, and he was rounded up as well.
Well, look, I think you're being needlessly pernickety with all this. There's no real quick way of doing this, even a medium way. You can't interview every illegal immigrant who's broken the law to enter the country, have an interview with them and go through their CV and see if they're worth breaking the law for. You can't do that. You have to treat everybody equally. If you're illegal and you shouldn't be there, then you have to leave.
I don't know. I think everybody's going to start waking up to Trump being a fake, to be honest with you. I've always thought him to be a fake. He doesn't really even believe in what he says, in my opinion. He just says it because it's something that he knows. He's people that support him, it kind of, pumps them up. Like this Epstein thing, they've been going on for years. Yeah. About Epstein this. Oh, when we get into power, we're gonna. All of a sudden, he's now like in the I think it was in the Oval Office, and a reporter asks the lady, I think I've forgotten what her name is, and he goes, "Oh, you're still talking about it? Like, but you was the one talking about it for the last couple of years, 4 years straight." And exactly. Can you not? No, but I'm saying that the situation with this. He's done the same thing with other things as well. Like he's going to keep on doing it because he doesn't really care, in my opinion, on most things. He is the deep state. Like you don't think. Oh, a lot of people think. Donald Trump's coming in. He's going to destroy the deep state. No, he's part of it. Once you get into that position of being the president, you got no choice.
Well, look, I played a video of Virginia, the whistleblower who was trafficked by what's his name, Epstein. And in the video, so this is a time lock video. So basically, she had recorded it before she died mysteriously. And in there, and I played the video, and I haven't verified if this video is true or not. It came to me this morning. I've just played it, so I'm making an official statement that information hasn't been verified, or whether indeed that is the actual voice of Virginia. However, in that voice, people can go back and listen to it again. She named a certain Microsoft prominent member, and also a certain Kenyan-born former president of the United States as being
William Gates and Mr. Obama.
That's the one.
Okay.
She names them too, and basically,
I think the biggest issue is going to be is that. When they probably got the list, right? The list, they actually got the list. I think they started realizing, especially Trump, like there's not going to be, it's going to be hard to prove who's innocent. Innocently just went down because some people might have just went down. not really even knowing what's going on behind the scenes, right? There could be people that just went to his island and didn't really understand what's going on and just went back. But there's no way to prove it now. Anybody that was flown into there or went there is going to be guilty, right? Including Trump, I think. Yeah, I'm not saying he's done anything, but I guarantee you, Charlie probably went there as well. We know that Edward, whatever his name was, Andrew. I bet most of the presidents, including Bill Clinton, previous presidents, are gone there. So I think they're in a situation where, like, you know, if they do release it, it's going to be a complete shit show. So they're like, okay, nothing to see here, though.
Right. So do you concur with me that one way of sorting out the corruption in our country here, in the UK, is to do the following: that prosecute politicians who don't keep their promises to voters before getting elected, remove parliamentary privilege, so they're forced to be held accountable for any lies that they tell to the people in Parliament and also to each other, remove any chance of corporate or people with large pockets to financially influence or corrupt politicians. As a minimum, these three should be implemented. Do you agree with that?
The second two, I think, you know, people taking money, backhanders, and then kind of being influenced into kind of like, you know, pushing a particular agenda. Yeah, obviously that's needs to definitely be kind of like, you know, made illegal. The first one, I kind of agree. I think people that make flat out lies on their manifesto, we're going to do X, Y, Z, 100%, we're going to do this. And then when they come in, they do a complete U-turn. Whether they should be legally liable, like put into prison, I don't know. But I would say they need to be held accountable for it. Maybe legally they could just be like stripped of their position, you know, if they don't do it, and then, you know, somebody else has to be put into place that can.
So one more thing that I think, if I was Prime Minister of our country, I would literally do this. I would remove myself from any position where I was to be I would gain from anything. So if you put yourself in a position where you will not gain from this position, you automatically come to a very neutral position where on the left of you is socialism, on the right of you is conservative politics. So what you would start doing is you would start to, instead of put money towards, say, wars, you put that into the NHS. Instead of allowing private corporations to run power companies and charge people with profit, you take them over and you sell the service and the product, in this case electricity or gas, whatever, for cost price, maybe a few pounds more, just to cover extra costs and things like that. So even the North Sea oil, where petroleum
so hold on. Are you what you're sounding like is a lefty then? Socialist.
No, this is what I'm saying. You have to come to the middle. This country has
all right. That's
right?
Good. Because I've also said that as well. I've also believed that, you know, some things need to be taken into public control.
Right. So even the petroleum or the oil in North Sea, the profit, if we're selling that to foreign countries, the profits of that need to be paid directly into the bank accounts of the people. Either the country belongs to us, or it is an actual kingdom and it belongs to the monarch. And if it belongs to the monarch, we have to be open that all the profits of this type of thing goes to him, and, you know, or it goes to government. But why can it not be paid back? So I think these type of things are a minimum. But unfortunately, we've had so many decades of large corruption parties and activities. We've actually forgotten what fairness and what love and what equality and everything is, because part of us is being kind of divided and we're kind of at each other's throats. You know, the whole illegal immigration, religious stuff is just one example how they do that. But also we've forgotten that the country is supposed to belong to the people and it's supposed to be for the benefit of the people. But at the moment, everything's being molded where the country or the state is attacking the people.
certain things I believe should be controlled by the government, right? One of them is obviously the health service, the police. I think gas and electric as well. Water. I mean, the water situation in London is a complete joke. You know, Thames Water are basically bankrupt, and they're now like doubled the bills. So average was like £30 a month. It's getting to like 55 now, right? And that's because of their incompetency, right? So they're passing the cost on to the people that, you know, obviously. And the thing is, we got no choice but to use Thames Water. There's nothing else to use. There's no opposition, but it's a private company. So things like that.
I've written a book on gold and how.
Oh yeah, your Amazon book. Yeah, I've seen that.
Globally, how they will and they are commoditizing water, and it does cover the points what you said. But you're saying that they're dumb. This has been done strategically. So the population has grown, God knows how many percent, and they've not just Thames Water, but all the water boards have systematically reduced their ability to serve the population from the 90s, let alone the early 2000s. So this is being strategically done, and there's already technology that you can pump even seawater through filters, and it removes the salt, and you know it's very easy to kind of bring in new drinking water, but they're not doing it. Now the question is, why are they not doing it?
You know, I mean, Thames Water is a bloody joke, man, completely, because they've also got a monopoly on London, right? Like, there's no opposition. There's no. I mean, at least with the gas and electric, you know, our people, every time I go into a supermarket, you know, yesterday, someone from British Gas, some with that crazy evil N power, and then today as well, Scottish something. So at least there's some sort of kind of like competition that you can move over to. But with the Thames Water, you can't do nothing. We're stuck with them. Either you pay or you don't. So yeah, they've got like a monopoly on the one of the most important. I mean, it's not like you can't survive without water. I mean, you could survive without electric and gas if you was pushed to the limit. I mean, you could probably still do it, but without the water, you need it. It's like an essential part of life, right? So yeah, it's crazy.
So we don't generally agree on a lot of things, but I think we kind of agree that certain things need to be brought into the control of the state for the benefit of the people. We also agree that the political system has to be dusted off and politicians held accountable for fairness. And we also agree that Donald Trump is no longer regarded as the savior.
Dude, I never thought he was a savior anyway. But I have to say, I've been disillusioned with politics for 20 years.
Yeah, but
I haven't voted because...
Yeah,
no, I'm not a lefty. No, I'm not. My politics are all over the place. I'm quite right-wing on certain things, like law and order. Even on immigration, I would say I'm quite on the right.
Are you a vegetarian?
I am a proud vegetarian. And I'm fat as well, so there's no kind of like, oh, you're not going to gain weight. And I was a vegan as well. So
never come over to the Conservative camp as a vegetarian and say your politics is all over the place and you're partly Conservative, partly not. You can never be a Conservative if you're a vegetarian.
I will say that I'm a vegan then, because that's kind of more hardcore, isn't it? It's like more kind of like. And I've done the veganism as well, and that drove me mental. Though. No, but I'm totally disillusioned with politics for the last 20 plus years. Remember, I'm somebody that, I stood on the stage with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. I got picked. I was literally sitting there, like, because they chose me because I got my turban on out of the crowd. I said, "Oh, you can come up." So I went up, and I used to. Yeah, token brown turban guy. And also, I used to knock on people's doors, canvassing. I even, got photographs of me standing outside polling stations, taking people's names, making sure. And I also, I'm just trying to think how far I went. Yeah, I used to go to people's house. The day of election, when we canvassed, we figured out who was going to vote, who wasn't. And the ones that said they were going to vote, we would knock on their doors in the morning.
For Labour?
Yeah, for Labour. Go, are you sure? I'll make sure you vote today. Your thingy. We vote.
I think you should be deported as well.
Ah, right. Where are you going to deport me though?
You've never been to Punjab, India, have you? I'll
I have
send you
been.
there.
I've been twice.
Have
When I
you?
was
Have you?
younger, though. When I was younger, though. Once when I was a baby, and then
Yeah.
once when I was like 8 years old. But who's
Yeah.
on the chat? How do I? Oh, I can see the chat. Let me say hello to her. Hello, everybody in the chat. There's Rashma. She's still about Rashma. Good. I hope you're right, Rashma. I can see her as well.
So let's switch it up a bit. Let's go. Let's go down to the gutter level, and let's start off with Ali Disco and Mohammed. What's his name?
Mohammed's third wife, hijab.
Yes. Yeah. I suppose we could, if all that is true, we could classify the actions here as being grooming. Do you concur?
Oh, I don't know the whole story in and out, but I do know that even prior to hearing this, I've always thought that both Ali Dawa and Mohammed Hijab are the worst representation for Muslims worldwide. I think they do more damage for Muslims than any other Dawa guys. They're so arrogant. This bloody Ali Dimwit, God knows, he's got a squeaky voice like Mickey Mouse. He made his wife. Just think about the optics, right? You're doing Dawa, right? And so you have a bit of responsibility to kind of show them. He's one of the most famous Dawa guys, but he's doing a show where his wife is in the video, and he gives her a whiteboard to write. Yeah. Now, people are already saying Muslims oppress their women, right? Now, as a Dawa guy, he should have realized in his head the look isn't good, is it? I mean, it's not a good look giving a whiteboard to your wife to write on. Have you?
But apparently, he has a second wife as well. That's the rumor. I'm not saying it's true. That's the rumor being passed around, because of a certain video. I don't know if that's true or not. But do you think that's possible?
Yeah, look, both of them did like two peas in a pod, right? And on top of that, I mean, if Mohammed Hijab has done it, and then from my understanding is that the lady that he got married to, she went to Ali Dawa to complain, and then what happened is that once he found out, he was really in a court in the beginning. Once he found out that it was the person she was talking about was Mohammed Hijab, his bum buddy, he suddenly turned on her, right? And that just shows you, like, I'm going to be straight with you, Manny. If I found out you were suddenly married a man and you was copulating and stuff, secretly, I would tell everybody, right? I say, listen, Manny, you did XYZ. You're now doing XYZ with this dude. Obviously, it could be probably a woman, but I would say I wouldn't hide your sins, right? I'd be like, dude, like you're propagating one thing to the public, and then you're doing XYZ. None of definitely Mohammed Hijab and both of them.
And I don't like promoting you too much because you already have a stinking large ego, but you do actually have a genuine history of calling even your online friends out for this. So I can concur that you would definitely do that. Hands down.
It happened to remember. It happened recently as well. Just recently, I don't want to say the person's name, but on TikTok, I don't want to say what I'm doing on TikTok, but I'm kind of over there a little bit. But I had to kind of call someone out then that I get on with very well. Also, last woman,
you do know TikTok is designed for women more than men.
Yeah, well, I've grown you know what. I've got one now. I think I'm more soft now. I've become very kind of like soft, I think, compared to before. Like sometimes I watch my videos, I'm like, damn, dude, you was like a freaking machine, man. I'm not sure mentally I could do the same things that I did. Probably could if I was pushed to it, but I do think I'm more, let's say, liberal in a way, sort of like kind of my mindset at the moment. So maybe that's to do with age, I think, rather than anything else. Yeah, so I mean, everybody Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawa. I think Ali Dawa has said some absolutely atrocious things, right? Atrocious things, like the way he mocks. But the thing is, he said it about who's that guy? You know, the one that apostated from is it Apostate Prophet? I can't remember which one is it. There's a guy that Mohammed Hijab was going to and fro with.
Yeah, but he has to and fro with everybody.
No, there's one particular guy, apostate, and he was going, if he was under Sharia, I would watch you get, you know what, him basically ending his life, and I would watch, and I would be proud of it. I'd be proud of it. Remember that?
No.
Remember?
No.
So basically, the apostate prophet is a ex-Muslim, right?
Yeah.
And he said under Sharia, he would be, taken out.
Yeah.
And he said he'd be watching and he'd be proud of it. He'd be watching in glee, basically. And that is a disgusting thing to say. Like you're doing dawah, right? And you're kind of like you're propagating death of someone, right? Unalived. He did it again in Speaker's Corner. First of all, I thought maybe that was just a mistake, and because he hated the guy, maybe his hate for him kind of got the better judgment of him. But then there's a Muslim guy in the park, Asian guy, who's an ex-convert as well to Christianity, and he said the same thing to him. But in the park, I would be proud of it when I see you. If he was on the Sharia, I would end you, basically. I'd be proud of it, and I'd be watching. I was like, yeah, the dude, Ali Dawa is just totally like a nasty piece of work, man. They actually even blackmailed their sheikh.
Yeah, but what I mean, that's how that group operates. Or not even that group, to be. That's wrong. I correct myself. But that's how a lot of people, when they're so paranoid about this, what they think their fame and what have you, this is how they start operating. And nothing surprised me from that. I wanted to have a conversation with you because obviously you were up against them a number of times debate wise at Speaker's Corner, and you called them out a number of times, and it played out exactly as what we always thought they were capable of.
Yeah, but I've always said, because sometimes I meet, when I'm walking around and, I sometimes bump into people who recognize me and they go, obviously I'm famous, I'm famous or infamous. But I do get recognized sometimes, and they'll ask me, who's the worst people that you met at Speaker's Corner? And I think they're expecting me to say certain people's names, right? Like, the really extreme guys, right? The ones that supported Anjem Charity. And I always say, no, those people were outright nasty individuals. You knew where you stand with them. I said the worst. Every time it's always Muhammad Hijab. I don't think Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawa. I've always said those two are the two kind of the most kind of nastiest people I've met at the park, right? Because the way they do it is that because they've got such a big following, especially young people as well. I mean, Muhammad Hijab, he acts like he's in freaking WWF or WWE. You understand?
He likes boxing and all those type of sports, though, right? So you.
No. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to choose them, right? You choose one of them. You can't be. Example would be you can't be a Sikh preacher and also want to go around doing X, Y, Z to people, acting like a gangster.
Oh, you
choose one.
Oh, sorry. So it's not. So you're not saying for keeping fit. You're talking about the occasions where he's offered people out to an MMA
So
fight or an actual fight. Yeah, I mean that's just the low IQ side of things, right?
Yeah, but he used to walk around sometimes with a gum shield in his mouth. If he knew someone was in a part, especially I remember when Steve, remember Sarah Garvey. What's his name?
But what I'm saying is the correlation of aggression and IQ is firmly related without any exception. So the higher the aggression levels, the lower the IQ. So this is why these type of things I don't always critique too hard, because it's they've lost the argument. If somebody resorts to violence, they've lost the argument.
Yeah, I saw a video recently, and it was of your best mate. What's his name? Steve, the atheist. He had a microphone. He said,
"My best mate, how dare you?"
And he was going. I don't know how he got the mic. I think somebody else had a microphone. He was like, "You savages! How dare you come to Speaker's Corner?" And did you see that video?
Yeah,
isn't it?
It
was recently. Somebody had a microphone. He was going really in, man. He was like, "How dare you come here? Is that all you need to do? Is that all you can do is fight? Is that all you can do?
That's right. I think Open Your Eyes UK saying that Steve actually called out Ali Disco Dawa about doing some kind of what Steve claimed was some kind of scam with the donations.
No, there's another guy doing a scam. What's his name, man? Oh, for God's sake, it's a ginger one. Oh, what's his name? Hamza's den.
Oh yeah, but he was a snake from day dot.
No. I've said he's evil as well, right? When I met him, I had this people say Raj, you're an Islamophobe. I've met lots of people that are Muslims that are really good people, and when I meet them, I get a good vibe, right? And also I've met people that are Christians, Sikhs, whatever, and I get a bad vibe, right? And with him, I got the worst vibe. It was like when I spoke to him, it was like I was speaking to a demon, innit? And I started thinking about this guy's a devil in disguise, right? And it's now being found out. Do you know what he's been doing? He's been doing these GoFundMes to get himself out of debt, right? And he's got himself into massive debts multiple times because he's got a store selling hijabs and stuff, like a clothing store. And what he's doing is when he gets into massive debt, like 30, 40 grand, he then does a GoFundMe periodically every couple of, like, maybe once a year, and says, I'm in debt and I'm doing dawah. I can't look after my business properly. So people bail him out, right, for that. And what they've now realized, one of these Muslim brothers, I've forgotten what his name is, Bro Hajj, you know Haji? The guy called Bro Hajj. He's now looking into all of his kind of finances and realized, hold on a second, there's no way to account for where the money's gone. Right? The money's just disappeared. And the guy, if you're broke, and you have to go abroad, would you be going on first class or business class? You probably would, but I'm saying most normal people wouldn't. They'd want to save a bit of money. So he's also been caught out for using like the Dawa thing as a way to generate money and get people to feel sorry for him and stuff.
Look, for me, I have no qualms for people wanting a little bit of comfort in their lives. I mean, I refuse to do economy anymore. I'm just at that point of my life, so I can't really have qualms with anybody else. But fair enough, if you are trying to operate with donations, then I suppose you definitely do have a moral kind of standard to set, and then economy should be the way forward.
No, but the point is, if you are saying that you're in debt, and then because of your business, and then people give you 30 grand, 40 grand for it, right? Then what happens is that he can't account for none of the money. Think about it. If you're paying off a debt, right? Say if you've got a business debt, you're going to be buying things or paying the supplier or whatever you're going to do. What they're saying is he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have it.
Does that surprise you about him? It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me because I've always said the guy's a devil, right? But it's just that people are now kind of waking up to certain individuals going, okay, fair enough, that person. So my kind of feeling about certain people have come right. Yeah, I've said before, certain people are XYZ, and oh no, they're not like that. Oh, you're just being. I've been right most of the time, I think.
There was one Muslim gentleman that you introduced me to. He wasn't a speaker. He just used to stand there and listen. But he was quite a built lad. He definitely enjoyed his time in the gym. He used to towards the end wear a cap thing, and but he was very quiet, very reserved. Do you know who I mean? I think he had a very small beard.
That sounds like all of them. Only joking. I don't know, man. I can't remember. What did he used to go to Speaker's Corner regularly?
Yeah, when we both used to go. I'll try to find a video where he's standing around. I mean, I thought someone like him. I mean, I think he was a shining example. For the Muslim community. But of course, the shining examples never want to be public, right?
This is the biggest issue, right? I've met so many Muslims at the park that are really great kind of representation of their community, right? But they don't want to go on camera. And that's actually because they don't have an ego like some of these other guys, right? So the thing that makes them a good person also means that they don't really want to have the kind of like the fame of it, right? And so they want to stay in the background. I met loads of people. I used to say to them, dude, you need to like get onto camera, right? And get these guys off camera, the guys that are doing X, Y, Z. And like basically, represent, but no, they just don't want to do it.
Okay, well, moving on from one low-hanging fruit to another. Your former friend, apparently, I heard from, I think it was Jupiter's live stream. Hello, Jupiter, if you're listening. So Jupiter's live stream that your former friend Triller in Manila actually was given some, how can I say, was showed some truths, and this time he actually had his eyes open and realized that the extremists are the extremists. Is this true?
Well, I've heard it as well. It's better sooner than later. And I kept on saying, I said the same thing to Lodger, and I said the same thing to other Sikhs that were kind of like on my back, right? I said, listen here, man, the guys that you're chatting to have people on their panels that are so vile that, example would be years ago, there was a guy called ISIS Bob, right? Yeah. You remember that guy?
No.
There was a guy called, can I say the word ISIS Bob? I've said it now. No, the reason I'm asking, I'm so goddamn TikTok's so sensitive. They ban you for anything, literally, like a word, you would just get banned. So I'm kind of like in this kind of century. So I remember there was a guy on, used to be on Faz's channel, Sir Faz's channel, and he used to go all over the place. And he was good mates with all of these people, all these fuddos like Faz and that Ghost Puddada and all these kind of guys. And they used to always chill and chat with him. This guy was the most evilest, extremist person. That's why he used to call him ISIS Bob. He used to be calling for the death of people and all of this, or kafars and all this. He would sometimes hack. Remember Titan? Remember TOITN? There used to be a channel. Yes. He used to hack that and then play ISIS videos of real, real uncut, censored videos on there, right? Wow. And everyone's like, oh, it's just. And the thing is, like, I used to remember them all chin-wagging with him. Now, if that was the opposite way around and we were like talking to people like that, but they were doing it to, say, Muslims, putting up videos of, there would be hellfire to play, Islamophobe, this and that. But for some reason, it was okay for them to do it, that guy to do it. And that guy then was pulled up by the FBI and put into prison, right? So he wasn't just like some kind of internet guy. He was about to go to Syria and they caught him. And this is not just that. I mean, there's so many other cases. And so what I'm trying to say is that they're okay with their own extremists. Yeah. And I'm going to say this on the Muslim side. They're okay with their own extremists. But what happens is that you speak to one person. If there's from the other side, they say, oh, Islamophobe and all that. But they will accept the same thing from their own side and say, oh, no, there's nothing to see here. And I've said this for so many times. I said this. I said, look at what these people are saying on their panel. Example again would be a couple of years ago. Remember, they didn't like Shias, right? Shia Muslims, right? Obviously, they're a different sect, and they used to play a song called Shia Kafir, right? And it was sung in Urdu. I didn't understand what was being said. So somebody got it translated for me. Do you know what it was asking for? What it was saying? It was saying they're going to pull out the tongues of the Shias, that they're dirty like dogs, that they're going to, off them, basically kill them and all this kind of stuff. And even when I got it translated and I said, listen, look, this is what they're playing, they still played it and laughed at it. Imagine the opposite way around. So what I'm saying is that people are starting to wake up, right? So I'm not saying in real life, I'm talking about on the internet thing. There's one rule for them, one rule for us. They can sit on panels with the most vile people, cussing Sikhs, cussing Christians, cussing Hindus 24/7. But as soon as you do one bit of way, Islamophobe. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And now people are starting to realize, okay, these guys, and I say this to the Sikhs out there, right? They will never defend you as a Sikh. Never. The way you defend them as Muslims. Now, the problem is here is that I think because sometimes Sikhs, because we, or just people generally, good people, will be, okay, we want to defend people if they feel like they're being under attack. Okay, fair enough, I get that. But these people on these panels are not nice people. And those people will never defend you. If Sikhs are being attacked left, right, and center, they would never defend you. They'd either keep quiet if it was their Muslim brother, or they'd side with them. And I've seen it time and time again, right? And now I've seen that, and even remember a girl called Killer K? Remember her that was going after me? Yeah. She also come to, I think it was like a year and a half ago, came to the same realization. And someone sent me, because sometimes what happens, because I'm not part of all of this YouTube stuff, I sometimes have people that were part of it from before send me messages. And I say, oh yeah, look what happened there. And most of them ignore, but sometimes I'm like, okay, my ears kind of perk up. So, okay, fair enough. These people now who are condemning me are now saying not only what I've been saying for years, they're even more extreme. You understand? They're even more extreme on their viewpoint. Because what I've said, I'll give an example would be about the grooming gangs. I call them Pakistani grooming gangs. You call them Muslim grooming gangs, I'm assuming. Would you? Yeah. Would you?
Well, I do,
yeah. So me and you have also had this kind of to and fro privately. Even I think where I say, look, I don't think it's fair to call them Muslim grooming gangs, because I don't think in the UK they truly are. I think what they are Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, and lumping all of the Muslims in there. Obviously, there's a few outliers where you have like people from different communities in there, but the majority.
So the grooming gangs, the Moroccan grooming gangs over in the Netherlands, what would you call them?
Well, I'm just saying about the UK, right? There's a lot of Moroccans in the UK. There's a lot of Turks in the UK. There's a lot of Bengalis in the UK. A lot of my best mates were Bengalis growing up, and I've never heard of Bengalis being part of large grooming gangs or Turks being in the UK. I'm talking about UK specifically, right? If you want to go around the whole of the Europe, all right, well, that's a conversation for another day. But let's just concentrate on what's happening in the UK, right? And so I've been saying Pakistani grooming gangs, right? And I've been, even you can vouch for me. Have I told you I believe they're Pakistani grooming gangs, not Muslim grooming gangs?
Well, you changed over the course of your Speaker's Corner time. So towards the end, you did change and say they're Pakistani.
Yeah. And so, but that's something that I've kind of opened my eyes up to, because the problem is when I went Speaker's Corner, I met so many Muslims from different backgrounds, and I didn't really even understand how many Arabs they were, how many Moroccans, because now London is very different to when I was growing up, because mainly Myra is mainly Pakistani. So for me to call them Muslim, I feel like, you're chucking the whole of their community under the boat. But I've heard now that Triller is calling them Muslim grooming gangs.
Does that surprise you? I mean, he changes with the wind anyway. Were you two best of friends? Then overnight, you became the worst of enemies.
First of all, never best of friends, right?
I heard from the grapevine that that you guys used to have some sweet pillow talk over the phone.
Oh God, it was one way. If there was any kind of romantic overtones, I'm straight as a goddamn dunda, right? Like a stick. So I didn't have anything. All I'll say is that when it comes to this individual, because somebody sent me some clips, right? And I was like, dude, is this the same guy that was condemning me? Like, it's like, I can't believe, because I've not listened to YouTube for such a long time. How I don't even know what's happened for the situation to go to such a kind of like a complete left to what the individual was saying before. Like, I still call them Pakistani grooming gangs. From what I heard from what you were saying, is they're Muslim grooming gangs. Also, from what I heard from a couple of little snippets, was that he was saying that the Muslim community kind of like, closes ranks when it comes to like calling out their own. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, we all know that is definitely the case. But this is why I refer to him as low hanging fruit, because he never in his capacity bothered to look into these things or even have a conversation from both sides. So he, like God does, he teaches you the hard way, and he's been taught the hard way.
Look, if he's come through to and come to seeing the light, fair enough, innit? Fair enough. End of the day, it might have taken 5 years, and for yourself to certain individuals to go, okay, fair enough. Maybe I may not like Raj, but the thing is, what you were saying, there is some truth to it, right? And I would say, just to be fair, I've changed my mind about a lot of things as well. I'm not the same person I was like even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think I've changed my mind on a lot of things, and So everybody kind of can, if you get new information on board, you need to think about one thing I've always said is that these guys will not defend Sikhs the way Sikhs are defending them.
You make a good point. Actually, there's no point criticizing Triller. In fact, if Triller has changed his mind and he has changed the light, then that you're right. That should be congratulated, because changing your mind can be difficult enough, but acknowledging it publicly is something that should be, could have seen as a positive thing. So on that light, I agree with you.
Especially when you feel like, because I think these individuals that that he's calling out now probably backstabbed him, because I don't know the whole story. And I've always said that goes put in that corner, that whole crew of theirs, Halima and all of these people, they're nasty, vile individuals, right? Whose whole kind of like, the whole thing on the internet is to defend the grooming epidemic, right? They cannot take any account for it. They will never, I mean, even Halima, who basically is saying there's nothing to see, her brother, when I looked into her background, guess what he was? He's in prison for what? RAPE.
Wow,
right?
Really?
Yeah,
I remember you disclosing that at the time.
Yeah. So her brother is in there. Also, have you seen this group? I don't know what it's called, Fighting for Fair Trials or something. I can't remember. They're from TikTok. And they're going around the north of England doing protests in support. I would say, they're saying for, so basically they're going around the north doing these protests. This made up mainly of Pakistanis from up north, and they're going around trying to say, we want fair trials, because there's, what they're saying, there's like corruption and all that kind of stuff. And they got no sense. Like, the person that created the group, her brother is in prison for one of the groomings, right? It's a group from one of the groomers. And she's saying that he's got, basically, he's falsely imprisoned. And they've got so much energy to do that. But why not just set up a protest saying, we condemn these people? Do you understand? Like, I'll give you an example. If there was a situation where Sikhs were doing this, right? Let me just say from the Sikhs, I would go myself and say, hold on, come on. I'd call people up and say, look, man, we've got this bad reputation. People in our community is doing X, Y, Z. Why don't we set up a group where we will kind of like, condemn these people, and maybe even do like a little kind of like a protest and say, look, they're not part of our group. We will try and like root them out. Instead, what's happening? They're still, after how many years, are they still saying there's not a problem? How long have we been going on this for?
But now it's increasingly being taken out of their hands. So they had a chance to sort the issue out within their own community. Now it's no longer even in their hands.
So I'll give an example. Tommy Robinson. Obviously, I'm not part of the Tommy Robinson movement, and I still agree with him on certain things, but I don't agree with certain other things. But what was he saying years ago? Now Keir Starmer has said the same thing, and people within the government have said the same thing he was saying, that there's a problem with grooming gangs within these northern towns, which are predominantly Pakistani, targeting white girls. Right? Obviously, we could say they were targeting Sikh girls as well, but there was a different kind of modus operandi, I think, slightly different. But now everybody's on the same page, and it's still not going, okay, we've made it, our communities, there's some bad apples, let's root them out. Instead, what they're doing is constantly deflecting.
So you made a good point. You just made an interesting point there. You said about Tommy Robinson, you're not, you said you're not in his camp. Then you said you agree with him on some things and you don't agree with him on other things. Why did you feel the need to clarify whether you're in his camp or not? And then also enlighten everybody, what are the things that you agree with and what are the things that you don't agree with?
I feel like I need to enlighten people. I'm not in his camp because obviously I got the nickname Tommy Robinson, right?
Is that not your real name?
Well, it was by Depot or whatever it is, but I changed it to Raj, so it was originally that. Now, the point is, I never really gave myself that name. Do you know what I'm like here? I'm like, when someone says you're a pigeon, I go, okay, I'm a pigeon, right? And so when people started going, I think it was after the free speech thing that we did, the thing about the free speech, and then they were like, "Oh, you're Tommy Robinson. Oh, you're Tommy Robinson." I was like, "Okay, fair enough. I'm Tommy Robinson," because I do believe he's done a. I'm sorry, some people may not like him, and I can understand to a certain degree, but no one can say what he said about the grooming gangs was a lie, right? No one can say that what he said about the extremists within Luton and all of this kind of stuff in the early 2010s up to 2018, 19 was a lie, right? With all the extremist terrorist attacks that were happening. I mean, now I think things have calmed down a bit because people are starting to forget that, okay, when you look at between 2016, 2018, there was like 4 or 5 terrorist attacks. Yeah. And some of those guys used to go Speaker's Corner, a few of them. Karim Butt was one of them. So he was right about that. And also free speech as well. He was right about it. So those 3 things I always agreed with him on. Now, my issue, like I said, and I've said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. I think Tommy Robinson's good at highlighting issues, but he's stumbling block. He doesn't have any solutions.
But what do you disagree with him on?
Oh, I disagree with some of the things that you said. Firstly, I think he still says they're kind of Muslim grooming gangs. I would say no, I don't agree with that. Secondly, I would say that he said some outrageous things and he hasn't actually taken them back. One was when he was outside the mosque after Manchester bombing, and he said, "Oh, these houses are full of that's a dangerous thing to say, right?" Also, remember that documentary about those 3 boys that were knocked over. Remember?
Yeah.
And he done a documentary about it. I told people within the group that this is not a Muslim terrorist attack. It was a Hindu guy who was drunk and he kicked them, but they still wouldn't listen, innit? And they put it out and they made himself look stupid. So there's certain things that I don't like. And I have to be honest with you, one of the reasons I definitely kind of like moved on was because I didn't like certain people around him afterwards. Originally, when I used to first met him, he was with, what's his name? What's his name again, man? God, what's the guy? Richard Inman. Yeah, and Richard Inman, and whatever you think about him, he's a good guy to me, right? And he's somebody that I feel.
Yeah, Richard's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and he keeps people on a level field, right? He doesn't. He hasn't really got that kind of like somebody that will keep people in their places. And once certain other individuals, like I would say Danny Tomo and a few, I started seeing a difference. Like, dude, I don't like the kind of route this is going. Yeah, and after that, I was like, nah. If it was still Richard Inman, I'd be like, okay, but it's not just him. There's other people around him that I don't think are good for him or his kind of reputation and stuff. That's kind of like a basic kind of breakdown.
Danny Tomo is now a devout Christian.
Yeah, but I think someone like him, he's just a what they call it, like a charlatan kind of guy. He just jumps on any bandwagon to kind of like get people on his side. I don't think he truly believes in anything.
I think he's not even involved in any of Tommy's events or anything. If he is, very minimal. I saw one interview that he did. I can't remember the chap that interviewed him, and he was saying he was just raising his son or raising his children, living on a farm somewhere and just living a Christian life. And watching that interview, Danny Tomo did seem like a different person.
Yeah, but he's done too much damage, in my opinion. I don't want to go into certain things I heard about and stuff like that. And if Tommy Robinson was kind of like, he was like a close member of the inner circle, I just think it's done too much. And I'm too far removed from their kind of mindset at the moment. Like me, I think there's.
No, I'm not trying to bend your ear or kind of change your ways. You mentioned Danny Tomo. I'm just saying that this is the latest.
Yeah, maybe yes, changed, but I think the government owes Tommy Robinson a apology. All the news organizations owe him an apology because he was saying what they're saying now. Yeah, now think about it. You're calling the guy a racist, an Islamophobe, and a bigot 5 years ago for saying what you're saying now. So it is wrong. He does deserve an apology. He's done a lot of stupid things. Don't get me wrong. He's done some silly things, but on this particular thing about the grooming, like he was bang on, and he does deserve some form of apology. I think from the government, somebody should come out and say, "Look, we apologize to him," because obviously, this is not a joke. It's not a small. I was trying to because I was on because obviously sometimes I go on TikTok, right? And I've stopped going because it's so. You know what the problem with TikTok is? You know, on here we can talk freely. Yeah. Yeah, Shiva, Jagana, yeah, what's been going? Yeah, I know, yeah, I'll tell you, I'll say it later. But basically, I've been on TikTok because I've been trying to sort some idiots out. Like this guy called Doggood and Jack, remember these idiots. So, but the problem is when you're doing a live stream, in order to say words, you have to spell them out. Otherwise, you get a strike. So if I want to say SHIT, I have to spell it out rather than say it because you'll get a strike, right? So having a conversation on this is almost impossible in terms of like doing lives and stuff. But I was on there and I can't remember what was I was kind of like, yeah, a lot of people are kind of like, you know, who in the past were also saying that he's a racist and all this kind of. Most of them are come on board now and say, yeah, there is a problem with Pakistani grooming gangs. So what do you do then? Like, you know, you have to deal with it. But the Pakistani community still, I think, are still burying their heads in the sand, thinking that it's just going to go away. And I was trying to explain to one Pakistani guy, I was like, listen here, this will never go away because it's multifaceted. Do you know he was saying, oh, well, white people are pedophiles, white people are this. I said, listen here, the majority of the country is white. But think about from the indigenous population, how they view this, right? And I tried to explain to him, imagine you're in Pakistan because he's Pakistani and Chinese come over. Let's just say I use the Chinese because they don't get offended too much. So imagine the Chinese migrated over and then their first generation started targeting Pakistani girls only, ping them out, prostituting them and, you know, basically ruining their lives. Now, there could be thousands of Pakistani pedophiles as well. But you would be like, hold on a second, you've come to our country and do you understand? You're literally coming into someone's land and doing shitty behavior to their girls, right? So it's not really about race. It's about having respect. You're coming to a new place and you're doing all this stuff and then you're wondering why the indigenous population is going, hold on a second, why are these people that have just turned up targeting our women? Am I sounding crazy or would you agree with that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, mate. I can. I kind of understand your point.
Yeah, I don't think it's racism for the white population to say, hold on a second, these Pakistani people have just come over. Remember when a lot of this grooming started, they were first, second generation Pakistanis, right? They've just come over and what they're doing is they're targeting our girls, right? Because people are saying it's a racist thing to say, oh, why, you know, what about the brown girls? What about the black girls or something? They're going to be more concerned, whether you like it or not, about their own community as well. Like the white indigenous people are going to be more concerned about, you know, them targeting their girls and stuff. But I don't know. I really don't know. I've spoken so much about this over the years, and it hasn't really done any difference to the Pakistani community, unfortunately.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to change it a little. There's been something called the Christians have been ruling the debates over at Speaker's Corner over the last few weeks and months about something that they call the Islamic dilemma. Are you aware of that? The Islamic dilemma.
Yeah, I think you're referring to the fact that in the religious book it says that the people of the book, the Injil, or I can't remember exactly, basically, and they should. So it's basically it's in their book. It's saying that, you know, that the Bible is from God, but then they're saying that it's corrupted. Is that what it is? The Islamic dilemma? I don't know, maybe.
There is a video. I'm just trying to see.
But is that on the right? Is that on the right route?
I don't think it's. Let's just. Shall we watch a video on it, or what do you want to?
Yeah, go on, play. Go.
Okay. I mean, I haven't watched this video, so I don't know if this is the right one, but let's go for it.
Proving Islam. Its pages are verses that leave questions so profound they threaten the foundation of the entire religion. Could it be that the Quran, revered as Allah's final and unalterable word, actually points to a truth Muslims are willing or unable to confront? Stay with us as we unravel the Islamic dilemma, a paradox so glaring it shakes the core of Islamic theology and leaves no escape to those who seek the truth. Part 1. The Islamic Dilemma. Why the Quran disproves itself. In Surah 29:46, the Quran instructs Muslims to declare to Christians, "We believe in what has been sent down to us and what has been sent down to you. Our God and your God is one, and to him we submit." But what do Muslims often say to Christians today? Instead of affirming shared beliefs, many assert, "We don't believe in your scriptures. They've been corrupted, and your God is false." You see, this contradiction sparks a critical question. If the Quran commands Muslims to affirm the Bible and recognize a shared God, why do so many Muslims reject both? Let's examine this step by step. The Quran doesn't merely acknowledge the existence of earlier scriptures, it actively affirms them as divine revelation. In Surah chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, the Quran declares, "He has sent down upon you the book of truth, confirming what was before it. And he sent down the Torah and the gospel before as guidance for the people." Now, if you're following, this presents an immediate problem. On one hand, the Quran claims that Allah revealed the Torah and the gospel as guidance for humanity. On the other hand, many Muslims today insist these texts have been corrupted. By this reasoning, the guidance Allah provided allegedly led Christians astray, convincing them that God is a Trinity and that Jesus died for their sins. But this view directly contradicts a fundamental Quranic claim.
Right. So I think that kind of is the gist of it, right? So the Quran says, you know, the Torah and the Bible are literally to be held as, you know, the truth, but then they criticize it and saying they're not the truth. So either, you know, they can't have it both ways. The dilemma is, so which one is it? And they can't seem to be able to answer that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about and I've never really understood that myself. I was like, I remember going in speaker school, I'm like, hold a second, you're saying that the Bible is from God, because that's what it says, that, you know, it's but there's things that have been corrupted. Then by that logic, everything should be corrupted, really. You can't really trust anything. But obviously, from their point of view, when I spoke to them, they're like, well, God has revealed the parts that haven't been corrupted. And so we've now kind of rewritten it. So example would be Jesus didn't die on the cross.
Sorry. So I just want to make 4 points. So point number one: the Quran confirms the divine inspiration, authority, and preservation of the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Quran contradicts the teachings of the Old and New Testament with regard to the triune God and the deity of Christ, etc. If the Quran is true, the Old and New Testament are true. If the Quran is false due to the contradicting itself. So that is the summary of that. So how can that be? Just tell me in simple terms, Raj. How can they have both arguments?
They can't. They're basically contradicting each other. Basically, they're. And I've always known this anyway. It's like a silly. It's like, come on, man. You can't say that, you know, they're the people of the book, because that's what they refer to them. So they're going to give them special kind of treatment, but then say their whole book's corrupted. It makes no sense. It's like, I don't know. It's either corrupted or it's not. But the thing is, like, another thing is, like, you know, like, I was just in Stratford the other day, a couple of weeks, and they've got like big banners saying Jesus was Muslim. And what I find very annoying is that then they get upset when Christians are upset. They go, oh, and they pretend, oh, I don't understand why you're so upset. It's like, hold on a second. You're saying that Jesus didn't get crucified. Obviously, I'm not a Christian, but I'm trying to put myself in their position. If I was walking by when I was a Christian and I was a devout Christian, and then I saw there's banners up, "We love Jesus," and I go, "Oh, no, well, you know, because, you know, you love Jesus, well, he was Jesus," and they're saying, "Oh, well, he didn't die on the cross, he didn't do this." You'd be like, "Hold on a second, you're taking the mick." Like, you're taking the mick, like, literally. And then the Christians are getting upset. And I do think, I'm going to be honest, I think the Christians, some of them handle it well, like Bob and people like that, but some people are just like screeching and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's really counterproductive, right? But I understand why they're upset, because then, you heard of the word gaslighting?
Yes.
you're gaslighting Christians. You're telling them that their figurehead of their religion is not even the person that they say he is. Not only that he's also not even Christian, he's a Muslim, right? And obviously, just put it on the other foot. If Christians were doing, or a different group started doing doing kind of evangelizing, and say Prophet Muhammad was their Prophet Muhammad, slightly different, and he didn't do the things that you believe he did, right? Do you understand? They would be furious. It's this, and this is the double standard that I think people are starting to see, like Triller. And people like that, and Kay and them, they're starting to see the double standard. That example would be, I'd go Speaker's Corner when I first went, and they'd be mocking Christians mercilessly. Now, this to me is mocking, right? People say, "Oh, well, it's only 2 plus or 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 5. 1 plus." You're mocking, right? You're mocking the Trinity. Do you understand? When you're doing that, you are mocking. You may be like saying, or when you say, like, I've just recently saw a video of Shamsi, and I like Shamsi. I think he's one of the better Dawa guys. And he's going, "Oh, 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 15, blah, blah," laughing. And he goes, "Oh, God come out of a woman's vagina. Oh, God has to go toilet." You're mocking, right? You're mocking, right? You are mocking. And this is the problem. Then when people respond, Islamophobia. Do you understand? This is what I saw all the time at Speaker's Corner.
But what's that Muslim chap you just mentioned?
Shamsi.
Yeah, he's so low IQ. Why do you hold him in such high regard?
It's not him in particular, but his group. He's got a group, right? And some of them are really good, nice people. I remember I said to you, there's a certain individual I thought would have done great on camera. It's one of his crew. So when I say Shamsi, I should really say Shamsi's crew. Yeah, the people that he hangs, he's guys that he hangs around with, because they've always been really polite to me, even though they've never been aggressive. They've always been respectful. Even if I've disagreed with them, they've never started kind of like threatening me or anything. Do you understand? So they've always held up a particular standard of what I think somebody that does dawah or preaching should do, and they've always held it up to me. Now, unfortunately, they haven't done that to other people I've heard of, so it's not like it's for everybody, because I know they've had like kind of physical altercations with their own Muslim brothers. Remember, what's that guy, the one that Jedi and them lot toughed up? What's his name? Remember a couple of years ago they threw him on the floor? What's his name? Ali. Oh God, man. Remember that big fight happened when they started chasing Jedi around the park? Yeah. The week before, there's a small little Muslim guy.
Yeah. Let me get the
Ali. Somebody. They actually had a dust up with him, and he got a black eye from them or something, right? So they're not always peaceful, but I've always found that they're respect, and I still see some of those guys at Stratford, and they're always polite to me. Right, and I think you may say that's fake. It doesn't matter. The point is they've always been respectful, not like the Ali Dimwit and all of those lot. But yeah, but on the thing is when
Ahmed Ali.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali. Yeah, but the thing is like I said, like
Muhammad Ali. It's Ahmed Ali.
Ahmed Ali. Yeah, but the other thing is like I said with the Christians, right? They would constantly mock them. One of the things I've never, obviously I'm not a Christian, but I'm just trying to look at it from an objective standpoint. One of the arguments I've always heard from Muslims is like, how can God be a man? But if you believe God is all powerful, God can do anything.
Yeah, but you're trying to apply your own logic to people who are not interested in having a civilized conversation where they debate or where they learn. They're there to push a certain narrative and nothing else. Again, it's just low-hanging fruit. But I'm going to change it a little bit again now. You know, somebody who left Islam and is now no longer with them. Think of somebody who was an extremist. He didn't get.
Yeah, I know. Bilal. You come Bill now, Bill.
I was very surprised to learn of that, but at the same time, of course, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because he was converted because that extremist bought him a kebab. Did you ever hear that story? How
Suleiman, that little Suleiman, Anjem Chowdhury you're talking about?
No, Amden Chowdhury was befriended Bilal, if that was his name. his name's Billy now, isn't it? Gone back to Billy.
Yeah.
Befriended Billy and brought him a kebab, and then because of that kindness that he showed him, he became a Muslim.
Is
And
a kebab a euphemism for something else?
It's not a euphemism. He was being serious. And I heard that story. Well, I heard him tell that story at Speaker's Corner, and I felt sorry for him. I thought, if that is all the kindness it takes for you to be kind of brainwashed into this situation, like, wow, you know, you really do need some good friends, right? And that's it. And now you think of it, like, why do so many ginger people convert? Because they go through a certain kind of process in childhood or even early adulthood where they're teased for, you know, the color of their hair, and apart, you know, it seems like that is enough motivation for them to convert to the religion.
Remember that I had a picture once, a photo I took, but I lost it, of 4 ginger converts at Speaker's Corner standing in a row.
That's right, yeah. So Hamza's one of them.
Crazy. Hamza was one of the. I think it was that fat. There's a fat kind of like guy that is on the internet all the time. A fat Muslim convert. Was 2 other guys, right? And I was like, I kept on asking after. I said, "What is it?" It makes sense, right? Gingers are kind of marginalized in the West. They're still one of the only, apart from fat people and certain everything, that you can still mock, right? And so gingers must get rinsed when they're in school, right? Mm-hmm. And the sad thing is that when you think of a ginger guy, you think automatically you think of like a nerdy looking guy, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's what I think. But when you think of a ginger woman, you kind of think of quite a sexy woman, right? Red-headed woman. And so it's like being a woman is ginger. This seems unattractive. And a man isn't. And they must get their ego or their kind of like confidence.
Well, for me, having such a unique color hair is quite a gift. I always looked at assets like that God gives you as quite a bonus. So I never understood. So at school, when children with ginger hair were teased, I never understood that, and I was always baffled. I was like, wow, it's so unique. But then I have that personality where I like being unique and standing out a bit. So even because I've got thick, straight hair, I could literally stuff a mattress with my hair's that strong. So even like people with curly hair, I'm kind of like thinking, wow, I would love to have curly hair, because then I wouldn't have to do my hair in the morning and that type of thing. I just do not understand this whole ginger thing. It's just, I see it, if you're being teased for the color of your hair, it's no different to being teased.
No, most gingers it's not just the color of their hair. They normally have freckles as well. Yeah, and they're normally very pale. So gingers are normally either very pale, might have what is it called, kind of freckles or whatever. But I'm just saying it's something that people get bullied for. So I think they're easily picked out by Dawa guys as vulnerable to a certain degree. Not in your traditional way, but somebody that's more of an outsider, and they can kind of say, "Okay, come over here. We're not going to judge you." And then once they get, but when it comes to Bilal, I never on camera. There's quite a few videos of me in the background trolling him, right? And I used to troll him and Suleiman. But with Bilal, I always felt he was too smart, right? I used to even say to him, I said, dude, you're too... Because when I used to speak to him by myself, off camera, the guy was very intelligent, right? And then he'd come on camera, and it was almost, not like an act, but it was almost like this kind of like, almost like Four Lions kind of like persona, like where he's this kind of like ultra extreme dude and all that. And then I'd come off camera and I'm speaking to him like, dude, like, you're very different. He said, "Oh, well, I have to say what I have to say." And I used to always say to him, this guy's too smart. So when he then come onto the thingy that he actually backtracked, I wasn't that surprised in terms of like him personally, because I just thought he was too smart to kind of fall for that for too long. He would have woken up at some point. But Suleiman, I guarantee, he's probably still in that, because Suleiman's also another person that probably was picked on when he was younger. Do you know what he was picked on for?
His height?
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's your assumption. You're not saying that's concrete.
that's my assumption because his height, he was small, but for someone from the black community, he's tiny, like on average height of a black guy, and he was always the smallest, even at the Asian people and stuff like that. So I would say that he had a big chip on his shoulder in terms of his height, and he probably found some kind of power in being this kind of like, you know, extremist guy. And everyone was like, you know, in awe of him. Like, not in awe of him, but no one really took him seriously. I used to do that. Oh God, I can't even believe I did this. I put a little Father Christmas on a stick. Remember that?
Yes, brilliant. One of the best things you ever did. And then
I need to rewatch them.
Ali Disco couldn't even engage with you.
Yeah, and I put the Jaws music on. There. And no, but think about. Do you know what's funny is, you know, when people take themselves very seriously, and then you mock them, and they can't take the joke. Those are the people I find the funny. So what I have to watch that video again. I'll probably watch it when I get this. I wasn't behind him when he was giving this serious speech on camera. You know, Suleiman, about you know, I'm going to do this, and then I was behind him with a little Father Christmas behind his head, shaking it like that. So he got a bit pissed off afterwards. But I hope he's doing all right as well, because I actually, no, to be honest, I quite liked him. Little Suleiman.
You liked them?
Yeah, both of them I thought were, Bilal and him, I thought were victims rather than kind of like bad people. I think there were people that were hurting in some way, maybe mental illness or whatever, and they went towards that extremist ideology. I never felt that they were bad people. When I spoke to them one-on-one, there's people I've spoken to, I'm like, this person's a bad person. Like I said with that, what's his name, that Ginger Hamza's Den, I felt the nastiness in him, right? But with them lot, I never really felt the nastiness. Like on camera, they were nasty. Off camera, you could have a good conversation with them, especially Bilal and stuff. You should try and get him on the show, you know.
Who, Billy?
Yeah. I'd love to speak to him. Well, I don't know, how can we get, because I'd actually really like to speak to him. Because I actually knew him. So it's not like he just...
Why do you go back to Speaker's Corner and catch up with him?
I'm not going there, man. God.
Do a
watching it.
One-time special.
No, I'm not going back there. Especially no. I can't even think. Even thinking about going there, I'm just like, what is the point? It's just so boring. The thing about Speaker's Corner is the worst thing about Speaker's Corner is boring. That's what the problem with the place is. It's just boring. And the one thing I can't stand is boring, right? I don't mind if it's like crazy. Like, you know, when we used to go, there was never a time it was boring. As soon as you'd walk in, there was like some kind of electric atmosphere to it, because there was so many different people. Now I just find it, the last couple of videos I've seen, it's just all about the same thing. But now maybe why don't you go there and see if you can chat to him? Why don't you try going down there?
I'd rather watch paint dry than go down to Speaker's Corner. Just, you know, for me, it was, the conversations were never that engaging.
No, there was some engaging conversations. Not even when we went.
Yeah, no, there were some, but generally speaking, it's just people just want to go there and argue and push their narrative. It's not really a conversation. Yeah,
look, but the difference is, the last time I went, Speaker's Corner had become very stale in the sense that you'd walk in, there's only two main topics, Christianity versus Muslims, right? When I used to go and you used to go, you could walk in, there's flat earthers, you go to the other side, there's somebody talking about I remember one time somebody went on there and actually was eating, here it is, play it. I've not seen this for years. Where's the sound? Oh God, that's...
I might actually just sort of...
That must have been so annoying for him, man.
Shark attack, 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 shark attack. Do you know that it is didn't need your house? He didn't need your property. You cannot block him.
Oh, him as well. He was a laugh.
What he needs from you is your heart. He needs your heart. He wants to do good. So your brothers and sisters.
So wasn't this chat?
Go forward to the bit where Suleiman's there. Where is it? Right to the end, I think it is.
So this chat, wasn't he exposed as somebody who was paid and given transport to come down and just to heckle?
Was he?
Yeah, I believe so. Either him or somebody else. It was exposed.
I'm not sure if it's him. I would have heard about it. Everyone loved that dude, even the Christians.
That's a first. That's a first. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so childish, man. I'm like a 10-year-old. Oh, who's there? Hello. How you doing? You good?
Where's the bit with Suleiman?
It's bullshit.
I think it's at the end. Oh, what a video. Quite a classic, actually. It's aged quite well. I thought I'd look back at it and go, God, what a nightmare of a video. But that video is actually quite good.
So, what else do you want to talk about, Raj? What's
well, I mean, I don't mind doing this like weekly.
No.
If you could do it on a Saturday, or every fortnightly or something on a Saturday, because I'm actually, you know my situation. I'm actually bored on Saturdays.
You are not professional enough in keeping a good diary.
No. I am. If you can do it fortnightly, I am.
I'm not discussing that with you. I'm telling you categorically, you are not professional enough.
Dude, I'm the most professional person you're ever gonna meet. Yeah. And we could talk. Do you know? Oh, next time you need to do a show about. But it's too late now. I did want to do it. I'd love to have a full kind of show about Israel, Palestine.
So are you still on the fence with that?
No, my stance is that I believe that the Jewish people have a right to a homeland because they deserve a homeland. I think of everything they've been through, but I don't agree with the war that's going on in Palestine. I think obviously they had a right to defend themselves because they were attacked on October the 7th, but it doesn't mean you can go in and commit a let's just say, well, I want to say the word genocide or whatever you want to say it. Like, I wouldn't agree with that if Sikhs did that or whoever did that. Like, there's a limit, right? You can go in and obviously they have a right to defend themselves for what happened. They kidnapped their people. They killed X amount of people. And I believe 100% Hamas is an evil organization. They don't care about their own people. But the people that are being punished are the Palestinians. Now, I know some people will say they're innocent. They're not innocent, but I believe that, children are always innocent. I believe, they are innocent, and there's lots of children being killed in the crossfire. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think there is.
No, I'm not gonna argue against it. I mean, war is terrible. One of the commandments is, don't kill. So what war is
I really want to go into the kind of the kind of religious reasons for this war, because I think a lot of people keep ignoring the kind of prophetic prophecy kind of like reasons for the war, right? Because Hamas, when they attacked, they said one of the reasons they decided to attack is because the red heifers were being transported to Israel, were in Israel. Now people might go, what's a red heifer? It's basically a red cow that is fully ginger, or whatever you want to call it, and that is important for when they rebuild the temple. So
we need Jordan to come on. This is one of his specialities. So Jordan, Open Your Eyes UK. If you're listening and you want to pop on for 5 minutes and give us a very quick breakdown, just message me on WhatsApp if you can't.
Yeah, but we could do that next. You can arrange for it next time. We'll do it. But my thing is here. One thing that has shocked me is, as much as I disagree with the war in what the Israeli government is, because I'm going to separate the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu from your average Jew. The amount of anti-Semitism that I've seen from people that I wouldn't even think are anti-Semitic, and people are saying things that are like beyond the pale, like literally like I've had people kind of justifying what happened in World War II. You understand? Like, oh well, and I'm like, dude, this is why I actually do believe Jews do need a state for themselves to protect themselves, because anti-Semitism is, in my opinion, so illogical that people become like animals. I mean, I don't know how it happens, because obviously you can say, okay, wrong is being done in Israel against the Palestinians.
Well, I don't understand who's saying that Israel should not exist. Israel does exist, and Israel will exist. The most powerful countries in the world will make sure of that if for some strange reason Israel is not able to take care of that. It's not even a debating point. Who's debating that point?
Well, the thing is, look, the original Zionists didn't even really care where the state of Israel was going to be, or a state for the Jews, right? It just happened to be that things aligned, and it happened to be that they went over to Palestine and or Israel over there, and then they created the state. But the thing is, remember, I went to Al Quds March. Remember the Al Quds March, which is like a yearly event where they go to the Israeli embassy, the Palestinians and stuff, and they do a protest. And I remember speaking to them, and some people are so kind of like like illogical. Like they think they can get rid of the state of Israel. It's not going nowhere. So you have to understand, sometimes you've got to come to a compromise. And obviously, in my opinion, a two-state solution, you may not agree with a two-state solution, some people don't, but I believe a two-state solution is the way, right? And the Jews are there now. They're not going nowhere. You can't push them to the sea. They're too powerful, not just in terms of like militarily. They're just not dumb people. They understand how to defend themselves, and they're not going nowhere. You have to live with them, right? Because as much as they think, oh, we're going to defeat, they haven't been able to. I mean, look at what's going on now. Like, they're surrounded. There's only like 8 million of them. And they're surrounded by some of the richest Muslim countries, and no one can do nothing to them. So what are you going to do? You're gonna just keep them crying all the time, or are you going to go, okay, open the hands of friendship and go, okay, you're here now. We may not have agreed how you got here, because I don't agree with it, but we need to try and make a
Islam. So is my understanding correct that Islam despises the Jewish religion and community?
Well, the problem you got here is, in the end times, in Islamic end time prophecies.
To answer that question, is my assumption
but I need to preface this by, when it comes to the end time prophecies, the Jews are essential to the end time prophecies, in the sense that it's going to be the Jews that the Muslims are going to be fighting, and the Jews are going to be hiding behind bushes whilst the Muslims are trying to destroy them. Do you understand? So Hamas has this.
What prophecy is this?
It's in the Hadiths, basically.
Right. So that's it's not the end times prophecy. That's what the Muslims believe.
Their end time. I said their end time prophecy. They believe in the end times they will be fighting the Jews, right? And in that end time prophecy, the Jews will be hiding behind bushes and all this kind of stuff. So they see the Jews as their enemy, really, if you really think about it, because it's them that in the end times that they're going to be fighting.
So who do Islamists see as their friend? Hello? I think Raj has dropped out momentarily. So until we wait for his return, I shall say hello to the chat. I don't know what half of you guys are saying, to be honest. So I don't know if Raj hasn't paid his electricity bill. Well, he's returned.
No, I hit the wrong button. It was the Jews that did it. It was the Jews. That's what everyone's going to say. It's the Jews that did it.
So my question to you was,
yeah.
Who do Islamists regard as their friends?
Only fellow Muslims.
So are you saying that Islamists regard everybody else who's not a member of the Islamic community as an enemy?
They don't have to be enemies, but they're not friends. You can be somebody that's just basically you don't have any real affiliation to, so you're kind of like they're not your friend, and
a second-class citizen.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm just being truthful. Like, you know, there's a kind of an in group and out group, right? And if you're in the group, you're first class. If you're out, you're second class. I mean, you can't come to any of a conclusion apart from that when you look at the rules and regulations of a Sharia compliant country. Like,
on that basis, we can conclude that there's always going to be attacks and targeting of Israel and the Jewish community, in with the Middle East being largely an Islamic area of the world.
Yeah, this is the problem. I had this conversation with my brother-in-law, and he doesn't really know too. And I said, listen, and he used the example of Ireland and Northern Ireland. I said, this is completely different. The reason being is because although it's a Catholics and Protestant, the land of Ireland has no special meaning to anyone really. But this land of, this little plot of land is like paramount to three separate religions, right? The Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. And each one doesn't want to give it up. This is why you've had so many, what you call them, crusades or whatever you want to call them, battles for that land, right? And the Jews are there now. And, Muslims are not going to accept that, dude. They're never going to accept it. They're never going to accept it because that's their land, right? There's no compromise when it comes to Israel. This is why when I speak to even very moderate kind of like what I think to be kind of like, forward-thinking Muslims, and I've asked them, I said, well, what, a two-state solution where, no, we need to push them out. I'm like, why? Like, this is why they say river to the sea. Because there's no compromise. Like, they cannot live side by side with them, with the Jewish state controlling Jerusalem and all of this kind of stuff, right? They're not going to be. When I say this, I mean a Muslim that really believes in their religion. Now, obviously, there's going to be Muslims that are kind of like more moderate and will be able to kind of like, compromise with it. But I'm talking about Hamas and them lot. They could never accept it. Never. This is why Hamas needs to go, basically.
But what about the fact that it was Israel that created Hamas?
Yeah, probably. Same way that America created the Taliban, same way America created Al-Qaeda almost. They create these kind of like groups, and then they turn into these kind of like Frankenstein monsters, and then they can't control them, right? And then they start going, when they start biting them back, it's like a dog or something, like a pit bull, and then they start crying. But you're the ones that created those monsters in the first place, right? Yeah, same here, probably. Hamas is like, they basically eliminated the PLO. Am I right? Remember the PLO?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so they done an election in 2005, and then once they got into power, they eliminated the opposition. And the reason, the thing is, you have to, from my understanding, that people may not agree, Hamas doesn't care about how many people die. In fact, the more that are dying, the better for them. This is why they keep on releasing, the death figures. For them, this is a propaganda win for them. Yeah.
So just moving it slightly, going back to the very first conversation we had about Jeffrey Epstein. So, Jeffrey Epstein apparently was working for the American intelligence services and also the Israeli intelligence services. You and I don't have any evidence of that. It's conspiratorial. People involved in his circles in one way or another have said that, and the operation was to basically get rich, powerful people in a compromising position, usually doing things to children, and then blackmail them and making them do certain political activities. Do you think that's likely to be true?
It sounds very plausible. I mean, they've been doing that for how long? I mean, Russia, used to use honey traps where they'd, get beautiful women to get men to do silly things. Because obviously, once they start thinking with their, they start becoming illogical, a lot of men, right? And so, yeah, I have no, like, you know, that, I mean, sometimes things sound like conspiracy theories. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. It's quite logical that these kind of people that are kind of like trying to control people will get individuals in compromising positions. And what's the worst compromise? Because if you was to get somebody in, say, a extramarital affair, some people will go, whatever, I'm not going to risk too much. But if you was to get somebody of a high-ranking position with a child, you know, it's life and death situation after that, right? For them, they will do anything in order to not get. This is why I think they're trying to cover this up now, because there's too many. I think what's happened. I think Trump, because Trump has been to his island. Is that correct? Am I from my understanding? Well, he definitely was close to him at some point, and I don't personally think he was involved like that, in my opinion, right? I don't think
he's certainly seen partying with him.
The problem I think they probably got now when he saw the files with the list is that there's so many people he knows. He was probably like, what's his name? Elon Musk said that he was on the list. All these people on the list, right? Some of these people, like I said earlier, might have been flown out, because I think there's a list of people that have flown to his island because you have to get flown there. Some of those people might have genuinely just went there and had dinner, right? And then there would have been other people that are more privy to the madness that was going on there, and they did other things. But the problem is, once that list comes out, you know what's going to happen. Everybody on that list, unless you can prove categorically, and it's going to be almost impossible to do now, that you did nothing, they're all going to be tarnished. And I think Donald Trump has come to the realization when it comes to this list that whatever happens, it's better to take the backlash from his supporters going crazy than to have the most powerful people in the world implicated in this list, especially people that are innocent. Imagine that you're an innocent billionaire or somebody that's from a, very powerful person, and you're on this list, and all of a sudden this list's out, and you're like, hold on a second, Trump, you're the one that put this list out. I think that he'd have a target on his head in some way. Not. I'm not just saying just like physically, but I think they will try and ruin that guy's career. I mean, I might be giving him too much credit, Trump, because he has said some foul things about even his own daughter and stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember that. But going back to the Jewish community, so the Jewish community, you've got to hand it to them. They are a very capable community, very intelligent community. I sometimes visit parts of London that they live in. Very aggressive drivers. I don't know if that's just special treatment for me, but they can be just as angry drivers as anybody else. Having said that, they probably
think you're Palestinian.
But a very intelligent community, nonetheless, very capable. 15.7 million Jews in the world. 7.2 million in Israel, 6.3 million in the United States. Like I said, very capable, high IQ. I mean, they do seem like God's chosen people for such a small number of people and achieving so much. What do you think of that?
No, I'm not a Christian, so I don't believe in all this God's chosen people. But they are a very, very successful community. In fact, when I look at Jews, I'm like, dude, what are they doing to get themselves? I don't get jealous of them. You know, the problem is a lot of jealousy. They look at a community that is very educated, very affluent, very. I mean, they looked at the Nobel Peace, but I think they looked at the Nobel Peace Prize of how many groups have got XYZ from that, and they're on a next level, the disproportionate amount of people that have got it. Now, when I look at Jews and I meet Jews, I'm like, dude, I want to know what they're doing to get so successful, right? They're so oppressed, but they're still the most successful group. I mean, you should be looking at that and going, dude, well done, clap your hands, right? Okay, you guys are, really, really kind of showing how do you? Because one way I've always said, the one way you should you can get at your opponent is by being successful. You understand? They hate it. And this is why I think people hate the Jews, because no matter what they've tried to do to them, and we've seen, I mean, the Holocaust is nothing. It wasn't the first thing that happened to them. If you look throughout history, there have been pogroms against Jews for thousands, 1,500 years, 2,000 years. I mean, just look at what the Romans did. The reason why there's they called it Philistine, right? Why? Because they pushed the Jews out. I can't remember, it was 70 AD. And the Romans obviously hated them because they wouldn't compromise their religion. They wanted them to worship the Caesars, right, as gods with their own gods, like other religions would do. And basically they said no, got pushed out, and then destroyed basically Israel or Jerusalem, whatever it was at the time. Then renamed it Philistine, which is Palestine, as a way to diss them, right? And it's still about. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to go into this God-chosen people, but they're definitely people that should be respected. Not this anti-Semitism is so illogical. Do you know one of the things I find the strangest is I remember having a conversation with a white supremacist, right? Yeah, and he was like, "The white man is number one. We're the strongest. We're the most." I said, "Hold on a second." And he said, "Oh, I can't stand black people. They're always moaning that the white man's oppressing." I said, "But you're always moaning that the Jews are oppressing you. So you're not the top dog then. That you see the Jews as a top dog. Because if you believe in a hierarchy of, like this kind of like Darwinism and in terms of like the hierarchy, the survival of the fittest, and the Jews are the fittest, right? In their, I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying in the mindset of a Nazi or something.
Exactly. Rather than waste your time with negativity and attacking people, try to learn from people and better your own community, your own family, and yourself. And this is why a lot of people, like when people call someone like me and certainly me like a coconut and all these other things, it's like I can operate in any community and with ease, and I've learned from so many people because I don't have any hatred towards any.
All right, so the problem is you have people that are so stupid that even if my enemy says 1 + 1 is 2, yeah, I will go, that's my enemy, I'm taking that, right? Because it's true, right? There are people out there that will say, no, because it's my enemy, I'm not using it. Do you understand? This mentality is why people can't progress. You can take things from even your enemies. Example would be like the Romans when they built the roads in the UK. Did the Brits suddenly destroy all the roads? Or did they use the roads? The roads were used for transport for the colonizer. Same with India. When they built the trains were built to take goods from India, but you don't destroy the roads. You don't destroy the trains. You use them and you improve them, right?
Yeah, and also with the whole Indian argument is let's just agree with Indians saying fair enough. The British Empire just looted India, blah blah blah. But what have you done with India since then?
No. But the people that are arguing that India was looted, they are totally, and I'm going to say people like Adnan Rashid and mainly Pakistanis and Bengalis and stuff and Muslims, they are totally fine with the Turks coming in and looting and plundering because they were Muslims. So when the Mughals come in, they were not Indians. They were what? They were descendants of Genghis Khan. These people also looted and pillaged India and took wealth back to their own land after, but then settled there. But for some reason, that kind of colonization is fine because they're Muslims. But whenever groups do it, like the British, all of a sudden, this is totally out of order. Both of them are out of order, in my opinion.
Agreed. Let's not end the show on a negative about talking about Adnan.
Ratchet. I hate that guy, man.
On a more positive. Well, you ripped him enough times. I think you can declare victory.
If COVID saved anything, it saved Adnan Rashid, because I was literally on the verge of when you got like a dog's got their bite on someone's neck and you're dragging them about, and I was just literally, he was like about out of breath. But unfortunately, the freaking COVID come in and it stopped all the things, and I lost all the kind of the energy for it. But try and get that the dude that you was talking about the Israel thing. I'm talking about the more pathetic kind of biblical kind of arguments I want to hear, because I've heard all about the stuff about the Balfour Declaration and all this kind of stuff. I understand all of that. I want to talk more about the reason why I believe that this war is a never-ending war, in my opinion, because of the religious aspect of it.
Yeah, but unless one country takes over another country, the wars are forever, on an unending.
Yeah, but on another note, think about what the Jewish people managed to do with a barren land. The land was barren. When people used to go to Palestine, what it was called at the time, there was nothing there. They used to say it was like literally, people used to get sad that the land of, this kind of religious land for 3 different religions, it was totally barren. And the Jews come in there, and it's now like totally fertile. They've managed to make it into a one of the most powerful economies in the world as well, Israel. I don't agree with Israel, like what Netanyahu's doing. I think what he's doing is evil, in my opinion. But the state of Israel is there, and it's going to exist. And they've done a great job with what they had there. It was like, they went for nothing, and they managed to create something.
Indeed.
But yeah. Anyway, but ban Netanyahu anyway. And he's no. But do you agree? I mean, would you agree? Let me ask you one question before we go. I personally think, as I was speaking to a Jewish friend of mine, I think this war is going to do more damage to Israel than good.
In what way?
Because one of the things is that Israel always seemed to have on its side was kind of support from the world, really, up to a point, right? I mean, obviously you'd have your kind of people that didn't learn from the Arab world, but I'm talking about I've met people that were kind of like, okay, the Jews deserve that. Now they're like, nah, this is too far. Like, they don't deserve it, right? And I think
what's your question?
Yeah, my question is that although they had a right to defend themselves, would you agree? Like, I believe they went so far that now it's counterproductive. The war has become a negative for Israel.
Yeah, but all wars are negative, full stop. So it was never going to be a positive. All wars are a negative. There was nothing positive that was going to come out of it.
No, they could have destroyed Hamas ideologically. Just think about it, because I spoke to a Jewish friend of mine. I said, imagine in the beginning of the war when they killed 1,200 people. They kidnapped all of these people and took them to Palestine. Imagine the world seeing that, and then Israel, then does retaliate, but does it in a way which is not barbaric like what they're doing now. Like, they do it because what they've done now, they've gone in like with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, but obviously the army stood down on the day that Hamas did the attack and the kidnapping and the raping and the murdering and all that stuff. Obviously, Israeli army stood down and
let it happen. You think
that's what many people say, and as a consequence, they then had the perfect excuse to.
Are you saying it's like a 9/11?
Well, that's what some people are saying. I'm not saying that I agree or not agree with it, but we do have to kind of take that into consideration. That is a possibility.
I mean, it could be a possibility, but either way, Netanyahu has done more damage than anybody could have done. He's created more anti-Semitism. He's created more hatred for Israel, more hatred for Jews. I've heard things that from people that I know, like. I'm like, dude, you're sounding like the big moustache man. Like, what are you saying? You understand? And I would never thought I would hear things like that from people about a group. Yeah, and so they're becoming radicalized by what they're seeing. Obviously, when you see children being, I would say, murdered because they are being murdered in that area, the way they're doing it, and I just think it's a shame because Israel could have been like a shining beacon to the world. Instead, they become a pariah now.
It's the state though, isn't it? It's not the Jewish people.
I know, but people are so. You have to understand one thing I've realized over the years. When it comes to Jews, people are totally irrational. You can reason with about any other group. Yeah, if you say, don't say this about all Muslims, don't say this about all Sikhs, because this government has done this. People can rationalize that. But when it comes to Jews, I don't know what it is about them that what people get so kind of like, frustrated or get so angry. You cannot separate the land of Israel from the Jews, right? It's like they're intertwined into one person. And no matter how much you try and reason, because I've had these conversations online on TikTok, I'm like, okay, you've got to separate the state from the people, but they cannot do it in their own brain. There's something about the Jews, and it's not just now. It's been going on for thousands. This is why I do believe Jews need their own land, because the irrationality of anti-Semitism is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And
maybe that's the existence. That's the existence of what the Bible says, that they will be persecuted, and if people are doing it without even realizing they're doing it, then this is the evidence,
I
right?
know, but the problem is when you get this kind of biblical perspective and you push it into it, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, but that's also a lazy conclusion.
No, it's not. If you're saying that these people are always going to be hated, when they're hated, you kind of turn a blind eye and go, okay, this is what happens to Jews. Because I've heard some, because obviously my favorite film is.
That's not what
not what you said. I've heard other Christians that are evangelical, because obviously, even before this, my favorite film is Omen, right? And so through Omen, they're always talking about the Antichrist, and then you start to go into.
Your favorite film is a movie about Satan.
Yeah, I love that film. Yeah, I watched it so, but I love this, and I like the backstory of it. So, although I'm not a Christian, I like the kind of biblical backstory because it's interesting, right? But this situation, because then obviously I hear other things, and my issue is it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Jews are being told, the Christians have been told that Jews will always be hated, right? Now, when the hatred comes, and persecutions and pogroms and stuff like that, it's like, oh well, this is what happens to Jews, right? I've even heard about the World War II, what happened to them, and a Christian preacher who loves Jews, who says, oh, well, this was God's plan, and this is what's going to happen to them, and in order for them to come back to Israel. You understand? So it's like this kind of like you're almost making excuses for bad behavior of other people, whereas what you should just be saying is that what's happening to Jewish people is just evil. Like the anti-Semitism is just wrong. Yeah. I understand if you're from a religious background. I'm just talking about from my perspective, right? If you can get that guy, because I need to shoot. I wouldn't mind having a proper conversation about this, and
let's have a chat on the phone or message, and let us set up another live stream.
Yeah. I think that should be all right next Saturday or the Saturday after, anyway. So.
Okay, well, let's see how we go.
Yeah, find the guide. I'm not me just talking to you now. Your knowledge is being flushed out. I need a professional.
Well, Jordan, Opening Eyes UK, is the person to talk about the red heifer situation.
Oh, is he? Where is he? Is he in the?
Yeah, but I'm going to end the live stream.
We don't. But next time, contract him.
Yeah.
Stop calling it. Well, is Jordan a Jewish guy?
I don't know who he is. I thought it might be your former friend Jordan M.
Oh, Jordan M. God's sakes, it's not him. He's not smart enough.
No, Opening Eyes UK is called Jordan, but no, he's a Christian gentleman.
But I'm assuming he's an evangelical Christian then.
Well, only he can answer what type of Christian he is, but
yeah, but you understand, if you're a Catholic, they don't support the state of Israel because they don't believe the Jewish people are the chosen people anymore.
Well, look, we can have a conversation about what Catholics do right and what they don't.
No, I just want to talk to somebody that is if he's actually, it doesn't really matter anyway, as long as he has the knowledge, so I can kind of pick his brains a bit. They have a conversation about this whole kind of the heifer and all of this kind of stuff, because they really, they basically got everything brought and done. It's just a matter of building now. So anyway.
All right, let's end it there, and let's do either next Saturday or the following one.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, Manny. Anyway, everybody, thanks for listening, and take care.
Cool. Thanks, Raj. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for commenting. Thank you to people who are going to be watching this after we've finished the show. So I don't really have a video as an outro, so I'm just going to play one of the old videos, I'm afraid. Nothing exciting. Like I said, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining, and I shall be back in the next week or two.
Så det puse göra. Still bangles. Mera na. Hade passe, hade ta. Mera na. Ha. Mera na. Hade passe, hade ta. हर गली हर मोड़ लगे पाया बिलबोर्ड feeling like I'm a god. तेरे यकदानी तो खुली थप्पी मारता हाँ मेरा ना हाँ मेरा ना हाँ 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 मेरा ना हर पासे हर था मेरा ना हाँ 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 मेरा ना हर पासे हर था हाँ मेरा ना हाँ 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 हाँ
Stupid rich, heard you tryna get like me, get it glizzy, hit a lick, I just hopped out the jet, double R, drop the head, check the time, take my meds, swing my dreads, rockstar, got it tatted in my hands.